What is going on, YouTube? It's Strix, and tonight we play basketball. Let's get into Kuroko no Basket last game. So, if we go ahead and just break down, I want to talk about the good, the bad, and ultimately what I want to do with Kuroko after this that I'm going to need a little bit of y'all's input on. All right, so let's go ahead and jump and dive just straight into the game, the movie, and the concept. So I want to get something out the way first and foremost. If you have never watched Kuroko, watch Kuroko first, 3 seasons, all of it, and then watch Last Game. The impact of Last Game, the importance of Last Game to Kuroko as a story is exactly as the title implies, the last game. This is the final piece of the Kuroko puzzle that, barring someone else writing it, I believe we're going to get. Now, Kuroko Last Game picks up with a plot line that I think isn't important initially, because it's very much tossed at the beginning and end of the movie and ignored throughout, where it's kind of like, this is the plot line that's going to propel the series to say, hey, this is what's coming next and we're not going to worry about it, but kind of setting up the future for the characters in the movie. The main plot line harkens back to Kuroko, a plot line that was unresolved, and that was of the Generation of Miracles as a team. A lot of people would argue, and I argue, that Kuroko's main focus is about Kagami and Kuroko and their ability to defeat and trying to defeat each one of the miracles, and to kind of make this statement about Kuroko's basketball and who's the strongest. But it's very much each one of the individual miracles versus Kuroko and Kagami and Serlin, and seeing who is the best and seeing if Kuroko's basketball stands up. The thing that isn't ever addressed is the broken team and the kind of the mending of that, and whether they ever play together, whether they can play Kuroko's basketball, and even what lies beyond that one season for each one of the miracles, giving a glimpse into their future. And that's one thing that Extra Game, I always call it Extra Game because that's the manga, what it was called in the manga, but Last Game does really well. So a group comes to Japan, Jabberwock. They're an American streetball team led by 2 individuals, Nash Gold Jr. and Jason Silver, which the project we'll get a little bit more into them with that separate project. But these are 2 good, amazing players. The 2 of them, along with their team, are good enough to be on par with the Miracles. That's just hands down, and in some ways better than the Miracles. And that needs to be addressed, because the only way you can do a plot line where the Miracles are all on the team is to present them with a big enough bad that they can't just take down instantly, to make it believable. And these 2 players, while an overwhelming force, you recognize that they do bear a lot of resemblance to the Miracles, and almost to Kuroko and Kagami in a sense, where if Kuroko and Kagami weren't the good people that we see them as, it's a pair, and how each one of the miracles were defeated by a pair that consisted of some form of assistance, passing, and then the ability to score. That was the core of Seren's Kuroko and Kagami's light shadow relationship. And this pair versus the Generation of Miracles can stand up, and it talks about kind of the prominence of 2 players, but I think it's 2 players making up a large portion of a team versus 5 players working cohesively as a unit. That's always been Kuroko's thing, is playing basketball for fun, enjoying it, and playing with people you enjoy, and everybody kind of working together as this unit. I get into all that to say that storyline ends up being weak, because unlike a lot of what happens in Kuroko the series and going to another production IG anime, Haikyuu, they're not given the time to develop both the players we already know and the players on the enemy team. Jabberwock just kind of comes in and is like, hey, we're assholes, even bigger assholes than like the Generation's known to be, so don't like us, we're gonna insult everything. Yeah, we're also kind of jerks because we physically attack people as well, not just verbally. It's very much like a, hey, hate us, versus giving them a legitimate reason to say what they say and to really see into their minds and their abilities, their strengths. And I think that hurts Kuroko. Now going, the movie as a whole, I said Kuroko, but hurts the movie overall. Going into the generation, they have their moments during the game because it's almost like a good number of them have to overcome something to really shine and to really be able to even stand a chance against Jabberwock. And what happens with those moments is there's this hour-and-a-half long time slot, and say you have 4 or 5 characters that need that development or need to have something, you get very quick flashbacks and you get very quick moments of realization and power up or level up or understanding that allows them to go beyond. And that just feels a little bit cheap compared to what we've gotten in Kuroko. It was always that first build up to Almine entering the zone was done so well, or anybody, or even Akashi in the final game of season 3. Any of the games, you'll notice there was this build up. Go back all the way to, I think, episode 4 when Kisei is first playing against them, and this understanding of what Kisei can do, and that it's not just like here, there's levels to it. It constantly can get stronger and better, and that gives this more realistic and obviously hyper-realistic anime, but it gives a more realistic sense of progression to the viewer. And I think Extra Game, its runtime messes that up. How would you solve that? I think Extra Game, you would have to get a company to agree to it, Production IG to agree to it, but something similar to Haikyuu's 3rd season, where the final game was given 10 episodes. It gave people a chance to shine, to have their own moment, and to really go into at least some development of the enemy, which had been done over the course of the previous season, but more so into the development of how previous moments were all shaping to the moment that we saw in the movie or at that episode. Now that's the biggest thing I didn't like about it. Beyond that, it had some solid animation. I still don't think that animation topped Haikyuu season 3 or Kuroko season 3's play. I don't think that it was just like that amazing. They have great moments that live up to that point, but never go beyond it. And that's my kind of the sad part about it. Now, if you want to know the good part, it's still really good. I loved Extra Game in its written form. I loved it to just watch it or read it, and the tension that it built up. And it has some moments that are so big and so progressive towards characters that it brings up those questions. And I guess this is a good point. The series I'm going to be doing, it'll be not next Wednesday, but the week after that it'll start. Starting with Nash Gold Jr. And Jason Silver specifically. We're going to look at each character and determine who is the most valuable player, who is the greatest miracle. And if y'all enjoy that, that could be fun. I always ask y'all's input on who y'all want me to do. So the question I'll ask for y'all down below in the comment section, which one of the miracles would you want me to do first? Who in that tier, that includes Kagami, who would you like to, or Kagami, who would you like to see me do and cover? And we'll go over their abilities and all their, kind of like a character breakdown, but also just how powerful are they in respect to the world of Kuroko. But back to Extra Game, that I wish that this was longer, but even still, I enjoyed it. I teared up. The ending has a great finish or finality to it, if that's the word. I don't know. English is English. Where you're almost told, it's almost like the writer is writing to us as a viewer, that yes, Kuroko is ending. This isn't some what is next for it. Kuroko, this is the story that he was trying to tell. This is the ending, and that he has, and everybody has, kind of bigger things that they have to chase if they want to chase their dream. And it makes me interested to read Robot X Laser Beam, which I haven't touched yet, just to see what he progressed and what he moved on to. In the case of Kuroko, it feels good to almost have the writer saying, I know you're not going to want this to be the end, but it kind of has to be. And he gives his reasons. It's a conversation between Kuroko and Kagami, the people that we've followed for so long, and it's just great and a great way to end off the entire series. In terms of characters, like I said, a lot of people get development. I don't want to spoil any of it. I think people should watch this, especially for a Kuroko fan. It is the way to finish out the series, and I'm like I said, I'm happy with it. I could go on and on about individual moments. Street ball is in this, formal basketball is in this, contest of strength, contest of finesse, abilities, kind of what lies beyond even some of the basic abilities that we've seen in this series, or some of the general abilities. It's done increasingly well, and there's almost this hint of there could be something else, but just don't expect it, I think, anytime soon. Kuroko last game did an amazing job in tying up a series that I loved. I think it isn't as good as I want it to be, but that's because this is something that's been coming for 2 years for me, with expectations that have been sky high and only gotten higher due to my love of Kuroko. With that said, I want to clarify one thing. This movie, combined with the written version, because I know a few more of the details, and there's more detail obviously in the written version, solidifies, I think, Kuroko in my top 10. Kuroko may not be the best, if somebody wants to say objectively, and this is good, this is bad, but what Kuroko and what basketball has meant to me since I was a kid, and what Kuroko means to me in terms of sports anime now being my favorite genre, and how it made me give it another chance and really opened my eyes, that is something I don't think I'll ever change, and it, for me, deserves that spot in my top 10. An extra game just kind of solidifies that. It's the best type of wanting more, because you want more because you don't feel it was done justice, and not in a bad way, but because you know that the company, Production IG, thank you first and foremost, y'all brought this to life amazingly, that they always find a way to do something slightly better, and that's why I love Kuroko no Basket extra game. But that'll be the end for this video. I hope that you enjoy. If you enjoyed this, leave a like on the video, tell me your thoughts down below, along with which miracle. So we're going to start off with Jason Silver and Nash Gold, talking about what they do and how strong they are. Which one of the miracles, so the Generation of Miracle team, including Kagami, who do y'all want me to cover first? If you're interested in kind of also being a part of it, I will be posting videos on here when I go live over on Twitch, which I do nightly. But when I go live to specifically do Kuroko stuff, I'm going to be looking up information and researching and really trying to give a definitive answer based on every piece of information, even if that means I have to reread the entire manga again. We will get definitive answers for who is the most valuable, who is the strongest. All of those questions will be answered in those videos, and that'll come in 2 weeks or so. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, leave subscribe, check me out on Twitter, all the social stuff down below in the description, and I hope that you have a great day. This has been Strix. I enjoyed the hell out of this and everything, so until the next night, because it looks like the sun is on the rise, until the next night, I'll talk to y'all a little bit later. Peace out.